think it is a good idea to expand the PSAT program to Shooting Park Road?
The PSAT program. Could you explain the PSAT
I
program?
cannot. Can somebody in the audience? I thought it had something to do with school testing.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you have a question on PSAT expansion, please talk to us and explain to us what it is, because, you know, whatever it is, I'll have to do some research on it because I have no clue, so.
It's the facade program.
Is it the facade?
Oh, facade program.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Okay, thank you. What's that?
I'm starting over with.
Okay, she's starting over on the time. There's no doubt that the facade program that the city is putting in place is a great program. Right now, it's downtown city of Peru, and it goes from, I believe, West Clocks on over to the West End and up Peoria Street. There's no reason why we can't expand that. We should be able to do anything that we have to do to help local businesses out, whether they want to put on a new awning or put in new windows, because it gets pretty costly. And those facade programs that were put in place is a great program, and I think that's something that we should look into expanding for local businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Giordano.
Thank you, Alderman Ferrari, for clearing that up. That's a good thing. I happened to be also at a meeting where they were talking, the city was talking about it. I think Alderman Putoff was talking about it specifically. And the program previously had allowed for about $2,500, I think, per individual thing that was taking place. You know, for business owners, they could come solicit the city for money, fill out an application, so that the city would in part be helpful to doing some of the downtown redevelopment. And by that it means, you know, we need to put a different face on the downtown, the city of Peru. I mean, we've had programs that were supposed to kind of make everything uniform. But I mean, now we have a series of buildings, you know, that have orange brick, and we have some that have had the facades that they've had for 100 and some odd years. And so I believe the city's intention, and I believe they enacted this at their last meeting, was to increase the amount of funding for the individuals to do these projects. And I think they said up to 50% of $75,000 or $37,500 would be available to individual businesses to improve their facades. That's a good thing, because I think they mentioned that there were 3 that needed that, and I happen to know of a couple of them where the exterior restorations are going to cost in excess of $75,000 to $100,000. Those are the kind of improvements that are going to make an immediate impact. And also looking at the corridor, and I think why they isolate Route 6 and Peoria Street, that's where a majority, obviously, of our businesses are. But by the same token, I think we ought to take a look at the downtown riverfront as well. There are a couple of things I think that we could do there, and as long as everyone's available and has the same access to these programs, expanding them, I think, is definitely beneficial. Thank you. And Mr.
Harrell.
Okay, we've had the facade program in place for 2 years. We started off with $5,000, and you would receive 50% of $5,000. Quite frankly, $5,000 doesn't go very far when you start to work on your facade, your awnings, whatever. It doesn't go very far. 50% of the $2,500 back. So we've been talking about it. I've been investigating, talking to many other towns, looking at LaSalle, who's done a wonderful job, looking at Ottawa, who's done a wonderful job. I was in East Dundee, and it looks like the program that we did approve at last week's meeting was for, as Jim said next to me, 50% of $75,000. The phone started ringing, and that was the document that we passed. It needs to be passed in ordinance form at our next meeting. The interest spiked immediately. The phone started ringing with those that want to come to downtown and start to work on and repair buildings and make them more vital for the future. As far as Water Street, the facade program doesn't go down to Water Street. The new TIF will go down to Water Street, but we are under an embargo on building permits on Water Street put in by FEMA. FEMA will not let us issue any building permits in the city approved from the Route 251 bridge going west. We cannot build on Water Street because of FEMA, because it is in a floodplain. The city did spend $50,000 on a study by FEMA, and we were able to take from Route 251 east out of the floodplain and put it in a floodway, and they did lift the embargo.